Chapter 1 Billy Bones and his Sea Chest. Jim Hawkins lived with his mother and father in an inn called the Admiral Benwell. It was in a seaside village in southwest England. One day, an old seaman arrived at the inn with a big heavy chest. He had a white scar on his face and looked very fierce. He drank a glass of rum. Then he asked for a room and said, "I like it here. It's quiet and I can watch the ships." His name was Billy Bones. Every day he looked out the sea through his brass telescope. He didn't speak much, but every night he asked the same question. Did any seaman come today? One day he called Jim Hawkins and said, "I will have you a penny, my boy, if you tell me when a seaman with one leg comes to this inn." "Of course," said Jim, happy to earn a penny. Months passed, but no alleged seaman came. Then one morning in January, a strange man arrived at the inn. Jim was laying the table for breakfast and looked up as the man came in. His face was thin and grey. Then Jim noticed his left hand. He had only 3 fingers. "I wonder if Billy Bones will have my penny for a man with 3 fingers instead of 1 leg," he thought. "Come here, boy," said the man. "Tell me, is the Billy Bones table?" "Yes," answered Jim, "but he's walking on the cliffs at the moment. You can wait for him here." "Could he be a boy?" said the man and sat down to wait. When Billy Bones returned from his walk and saw the man, he wasn't very happy. "Black Dog," he said, "what are you doing here?" "Aren't you pleased to see an old shipmate?" asked Black Dog. Jim left the 2 men to speak in private. Then there was a loud crash. When he went back into the room, Billy Bones was lying on the floor and Black Dog was gone. Luckily, Billy Bones was not dead, but he had to stay in bed for a long time after his fight with his old friend Black Dog. During this time, Jim cared for the old man, and one day Billy said, "You are always keen to me, Jim, so now I'll tell you a secret." Jim sat on the bed and listened carefully. "Do you remember Black Dog?" "Of course," answered Jim. "Well, he's a bad man, and there are lots more like him who want to see me dead." "But why?" asked Jimmy. "They want my old sea chest. We were all members of Captain Flint's crew," he continued. "Who is Captain Flint?" asked Jim. "Captain Flint, he was a famous pirate, and we had lots of adventures together." Jim was so surprised that they couldn't say a word. "Don't be afraid, Jim. My pirate days are over." But I need your help now. When I did when I die, you mustn't let the others take my sea chest. Promise. Ok, I promise. But what's inside the sea chest? You'll see when you open it, was all Billy said. One afternoon, a blind man arrived at the inn and asked for Billy Bones. Jim took him to Billy's table. The two men said nothing, but the blind man gave Billy a note and left quickly. Who was that? Asked Jimmy, but Billy didn't answer. He looked at the note. His face went very white. Then he said, 10 o'clock. Kick Jim, we have 6 hours. He stood up, then fell to the floor, dead. Jim stared at the dead man, too shocked to cry. Then he remembered his promise to Billy. The sea chest, he exclaimed. 10 o'clock, 6 hours, and he ran upstairs to Billy's room. The sea chest was under the window. Jim opened it slowly. Inside there were 2 pistols, an old Spanish watch, a compass, and some shields. Then in the corner of the chest, Jim found a small bag of coins and a long package. He put everything into a bag and thought, I must hide everything before the blind man and his friends come back. So he took his bag and quietly left the inn. It was night now and there was a full moon. Jim started to walk to the next village. Just as he reached a bridge, he heard a noise and looked back. Not far behind, he could see some men with lanterns. They were coming towards him. He thought quickly. Instead of crossing the bridge, he hid under it. Soon the men arrived at the bridge. One of them was the blind man. I can't see the boy anywhere, P, said one of the buccaneers to the blind man. You're not the only one, exclaimed P. We must find him. He has the map that was in the chest, continued P. Remember, if we find the map, we will be as rich as kings. Under the bridge, Jim listened, and was scared and excited at the same time. Then they heard horses coming from the village. The men ran away and left blind P in the middle of the road. The horse hit P as it came over the bridge. He died instantly. The rider, Dr. Lipsy, got off his horse. Lipsy was not only a doctor but also a magistrate, and Jim knew him well. The doctor took him to his house and Jim told him his story. So Jim, said the doctor, where's the map? Here it is, sir, said Jim as he gave the doctor the package. The doctor looked at it for a long time but did not open it. Instead he said, you must be hungry, Jim. Stay for dinner. Oh, thank you, sir, said Jimmy. Jim, Mr. Trelawney, the squire, was also at the dinner, and while they ate, the two men told Jim the story of Captain Flint. Flint was a terrible pirate. Before dying, he buried his treasure in secret place. They said, but now we have the map thanks to you, Jim, said the doctor. They opened the package. Inside there was a map of an island with three red crows and treasure here written near on one of them. Right, tomorrow I am going to buy a ship, said the squire, and we will sail to the island and find the treasure, said the doctor and Jim. It was night now, and there was a full moon. Jim started to walk on to the next village. Just as he reached a bridge, he heard a noise and looked back. Not far behind, he could see some men with lanterns. They were coming towards him. He thought quickly. Instead of crossing the bridge, he hid under it. Soon the men arrived at the bridge, and one of them was the blind man. I can't see the boy anywhere, P, said one of the buccaneers to the blind man. You're not the only one, exclaimed P. We must find him. He has the map that was in the chest, continued Pete. Remember, if we find the map, we will be as rich as king. On the bridge, Jim listened and was scared and excited at the same time. Then they heard horses coming from the village. The men ran away and left blind P in the middle of the road. The horse hit P as he came over the bridge. He died instantly. The rider, Dr. Lipsy, got off his horse. Lipsy was not only a doctor but also a magistrate, and Jim knew him well. The doctor took him to his house, and Jim told him his story. So Jim said, the doctor, where's the map? Here it is, sir, said Jim, as he gave the doctor the package. The doctor looked at it for a long time but did not open it. Instead, he said, you must be hungry, Jim. Stay for dinner. Oh, thank you, sir, said Jim. Mr. Truly, the squire, was also at the dinner, and while they ate. The two men told Jim the story of Captain Flint. Flint was a terrible pirate. Before dying, he buried his treasure in a secret place, they said. But now we have the map thanks to you, Jim, said the doctor. They opened the package. Inside there was a map of an island with three red crows and treasure here written near on of them. Right, tomorrow I am going to buy a ship, said the squire, and we will sail to the island and find the treasure, said the doctor and Jim.